My name is Ariana. Welcome to my daddy's show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Layman Rap Podcast. I am your host, Mr. 215, Irving Henderson. On today's show, we recap the Eagles' win over the Colts and briefly preview their game against the Tennessee Titans. As we near the quarter pole in the NFL season, I ranked the teams in my first power rankings of 2018. We'll look at the Week 4 matchups as I give my picks and name my fantasy stud and dud. And in our weekly rant, the NFL is going through great lengths to protect the quarterback. Is it actually hurting the game? So sit back, relax, grab a beverage, and lend me your ear for a few minutes. This is the Layman Rap Podcast. And a special thank you to my 5-year-old daughter, Ariana, for the intro to today's show. Welcome to the Layman Rap Podcast. Once again, I am your host, Irving Henderson. For the first time, we have a NFL-dominated show. Not that there aren't any other things going on around the sports world. The Major League Baseball playoffs are set to begin next week. We have a few pennant races coming down to the wire. Not here in Philadelphia, as the Phillies have decided to spiral out of control in September in one of the most unbelievable collapses I've ever seen in baseball. As far as this team, about 7 weeks ago, were 15 games over 500. They cannot finish above 500 now. And one more loss, and they cannot finish at 500. They will finish no better than 81-81 this season. So it remains to be seen exactly how the Phillies are going to close out the 2018 season. You have right now the Ryder Cup going on in golf. Preseason basketball begins tonight. The Sixers hosting a team from Melbourne, Australia tonight down at the Wells Fargo Center. I'm not a big fan of preseason sports in any sport. Don't watch spring training baseball. Don't watch preseason football, basketball, nor hockey. I do think that the games, while they can be entertaining, at the end of the day, you're just hoping that your big time players don't get hurt. So it's not really something I watch, nor is it something I put a great amount of stock in. There have been times you've seen guys tear it up in the preseason, regular season hits, and it's like 12 o'clock struck and the coach turned back into a pumpkin. So there are plenty of other sporting things going on. But today we have an all-National Football League show. And we're going to kick it off by discussing last week's Eagles-Colts game. The Philadelphia Eagles found a way to hold on and defeat the Indianapolis Colts last week in Carson Wentz's return to the lineup. It was not a great start by Wentz, numbers-wise. He was 25 of 37, 255 yards. He threw one touchdown pass, which came on the opening drive of the game. He also took 5 sacks, which is not a good look for the Eagles' offensive line. To allow their quarterback to get sacked so many times, especially coming off of a week in which Nick Foles was out there in Tampa and he was getting beaten and battered. So consecutive bad games for the Eagles offensive line. Foles didn't take as many sacks against Tampa Bay as Wentz did against Indianapolis, but the amount of hits that Foles took, was equal to the amount of hits that Wentz took in Week 3. Eagles winning, of course, by a final of 20-16. Andrew Luck for the Colts was 25 of 40. He threw for 165 yards. He also threw one touchdown pass, that to Ryan Grant. Carson Wentz's touchdown pass went to Dallas Goedert. Luck was sacked twice. Interestingly, the Colts on their last drive, last play of the game, replaced Andrew Luck with Jacoby Brissett for the Hail Mary attempt at the end. And that lets me know that the Colts right now are not fully comfortable with where Andrew Luck is as far as his arm strength is concerned. He's still not throwing the ball particularly deep just yet. I do know from personal experience with shoulder injury and shoulder surgery, it does take time to regain, full strength in your arm after surgery. So I think that's what Andrew Luck is dealing with right now. We'll see how he progresses later in the season to see if, as the season goes on, he begins to make deeper throws. Carson Wentz's 2 turnovers, the interception, and he was strip sacked for a fumble, did not result in much by way for the Colts. In fact, they had to kick 2 field goals on those 2 turnovers. The Colts only scored 1 touchdown in their 5 red zone chances, and there has been the, I guess, calling card of the Eagles defense in their 2 wins. You go back to the win against Atlanta and this win here against Indianapolis. The defense did a great job of clamping down once their opponents got into the red zone. The Colts had an opportunity in the fourth quarter to take the lead. They went for it on 4th and 3 from the 4-yard line. Derek Barnett just reached his hand out and tripped Andrew Luck and was able to get a sack, giving the ball back to the Eagles. The Eagles, of course, would punt, and that's how the Colts were able to have one last-ditch Hail Mary attempt, which fell incomplete. You also want to look for another reason how the Eagles won this game. You can go to time of possession. The Eagles held the ball for just over 40 minutes. They had the ball for 40 minutes and 20 seconds. Colts just 19 minutes and 40 seconds of ball possession time. And the Eagles were able to rush for 152 yards with both Corey Clement and Wendell Smallwood rushing for 56 yards apiece. Again, it was a very interesting performance by the Eagles. Another performance in which the defense made the necessary stop, the offense made the necessary score. These are things that championship teams do. I know that we'll talk a lot about how a team wins. And I think a lot of times in those cases, how a team wins sometimes overshadows the fact that a team won. And I think that, you don't give style points. Like, there's no such thing as style points. I think the beauty of sports is it's either a do or don't. You either win or you don't, and in some cases you can tie, which I think the NFL needs to find a way to get rid of the tie rule. I do. I think the NFL needs to find a way to rid themselves of the tie rule. Now, I don't know if they should do some sort of hybrid that they do in college football. I would suggest have the overtime period begin, give a team a possession at the 50-yard line, and no need for a kickoff. Give the team the possession at the 50-yard line, let them go. If they don't score, you give the other team an opportunity to score. And if they score, they win. I just think that there has to be a way in professional sports to eliminate ties. Like it just, you play 70 minutes and no one goes home satisfied. But that's another topic for another time. The Eagles coming up this week will take on the Tennessee Titans. The Titans are coming off of an ugly win of their own. They defeated the Jacksonville Jaguars 9-6, all field goals. The Titans got 3 field goals from Ryan Suckup, and they defeated the Jacksonville Jaguars. Big letdown for the Jaguars, especially coming off of their win against the Patriots the week prior. Marcus Mariota did not start in this game. He came off the bench in relief of Blaine Gabbert, who was hurt. Mariota was not expected to play at all. He had a elbow injury that he sustained in week 1, that he sustained in week 2 against the Texans. It happened in week 1 and he did not play in week 2 against the Texans. But he was able to come off the bench, and it was an ugly win, but a win nonetheless. And I think we can talk about that to no end. You'd much rather be on the positive side of an ugly game, and the Titans were in fact victorious over the Jacksonville Jaguars in probably the most boring game to watch last week, unless you're a fan of field goal kickers. The Eagles come into this game, I guess, slight favorites over Tennessee. However, the Eagles have not had success at Nissan Stadium. In fact, the Eagles have lost. They've lost at Nissan Stadium in their 2 prior meetings. One coming in 2002, the other in 2010. And this is the first matchup between these two teams since 2014, which the Eagles won 43-24. But as far as the Tennessee Titans portion of the Houston Oilers / Titans franchise, the Eagles are 1-4, 1-4 against the Titans franchise. So that's a trend that the Eagles are going to be looking to turn around. So we'll be right back. I'll have my power rankings for the week. We'll get into our picks for week 4, our fantasy stud and dud, and just some other things I'll throw out there before this show is over. So sit tight. We'll be right back. This is the Layman Rap Podcast. And we're back with the Layman Rap Podcast. Once again, this is your host, Irving Henderson, thanking you for checking us out once again. Now we get into our weekly power rankings, something I decided to do starting this week as we are nearing the quarter mark of the season in the NFL. We're gonna, just do this every week, and I'm going to start off with number 32, obviously. And at number 32, the Arizona Cardinals, 0-3, lowest scoring team in the National Football League, 20 points all season long. Really sad to see that this may be how the great Larry Fitzgerald's career is going to come to a close unless he does come back next season. But not a very good year right now for the Cardinals at all. Sam Bradford was the starting quarterback. I think the Cardinals have announced they're going to go with Josh Rosen, and you got to respect Sam Bradford's hustle. This guy is the poster child for mediocrity, and he's getting paid $20 million to hold the clipboard now. Good work if you can get it. Number 31, the Oakland Raiders. I don't know what's going on with the Raiders. I know there was some expectation that John Gruden was going to come in and help get this team over the hump. They have severely regressed. And, of course, the whole Khalil Mack debacle and, John Gruden comes out and says, we got to get a pass rush. Well, you had a pass rush, and he's in Chicago wearing a Bears uniform now. Number 30, the Houston Texans, also 0-3. Also another team who was expected to do a lot better than what they're doing right now. Deshaun Watson looking like he's having a sophomore slump this year. Number 29, the New York Jets. The Jets have a record of 1-2. Also at 1-2, the Buffalo Bills, who come in at number 28. The Cleveland Browns, number 27, finally got their first win in well over a year. So for the first time in a long time, the Browns come into a matchup on a winning streak. Number 26, the New York Giants. Number 25, the Indianapolis Colts. Number 24 and number 23 will be playing each other this weekend. Number 24, the Los Angeles Chargers. And number 23, the San Francisco 49ers. Number 22, the Atlanta Falcons. Number 21, the Dallas Cowboys. The Minnesota Vikings come in at number 20, and this was before yesterday's game. So how far the Vikings slide, we'll see, depending on how things shake out at the end of this weekend. Number 19, the Detroit Lions. Number 18, the Seattle Seahawks. Number 17, the New England Patriots, who coming into this week on a 2-game losing streak. Now, the combination of Bill Belichick and Tom Brady have never lost 3 games in a row. It's something that is possible. It's highly possible that for the first time in the Brady-Belichick era, the Patriots could have a 3-game losing streak. And right now, the Patriots are in a 3-way tie for second in the AFC East. Number 16, the Green Bay Packers. Number 15, Baltimore Ravens. The New Orleans Saints come in at number 14. The Cincinnati Bengals, number 13. Number 12, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And it looked like Fitz Magic has run its course in Tampa. We'll see going forward what the Buccaneers are going to do as far as Jameis Winston is concerned. Number 11, the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers defeated the Bucks in Monday Night Football this past week. Number 10, the Washington Redskins. Number 9, the Tennessee Titans. Number 8, the Denver Broncos. Number 7, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Number 6, the Carolina Panthers. And here we are. We have reached our top 5 for the week. Number 5, the Chicago Bears. Now, I know some people may value the Panthers above the Bears. There's just something about the way the Bears are playing defense. Minus their meltdown against Green Bay, I think the Bears have been solid all season long. Number 4, surprise, surprise. the team leading the AFC East right now, the undefeated 3-0 Miami Dolphins. They will face the New England Patriots this week, and don't count the Dolphins out. They could. It's possible that they could knock off the Patriots and improve to 4-0 and in essence get somewhat of a stranglehold early on that division. Ryan Tannehill, for the first time, is starting to play up to his full potential. Number 3, the Philadelphia Eagles. Number 2, the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes continuing to look solid in his first year as a starter. And our number 1 team this week, and it is likely that they will remain number 1 next week, considering that they won yesterday over the Minnesota Vikings. Number 1, the Los Angeles Rams. So there are your power rankings for week 4, or coming into week 4. Once again, just quickly going back in reverse order, the Cardinals, Raiders, Texans, Jets, Bills round out the bottom 5. Coming in the middle, the Browns, the Giants, the Colts, the Chargers, the 49ers, the Falcons, the Cowboys, the Vikings, the Lions, the Seahawks, the Patriots, the Packers, the Ravens, the Saints, the Bengals, the Buccaneers, the Steelers, the Redskins, Titans, Broncos, then Jaguars and Panthers round out those middle teams. And our top 5 are the Bears, Dolphins, Eagles, Chiefs, and Rams. All right, we'll be right back as I give you my week 4 picks and my fantasy stud and dud for the week. You are listening to the Layman Rap Podcast. All right, welcome back to the Layman Rap Podcast. Last week was our season premiere, and it was my first show in several months, so I was certainly trying to work out the kinks as best as I could. One of the main things that I wanted to do this season with my podcast is sort of lower the time of the episode. I noticed that the runtime was getting up to, close to an hour. And I'd like to keep it, a little less than that. I certainly would prefer to be somewhere near the 40-minute range, not too long. So, just trying to, again, work out the kinks and get the best possible show out to you guys. And once again, thank you for listening wherever you are right now. And here we are. We have our week 4 picks. I should have kept count last week. Again, like I said, it was really, sort of a rushed thing. I was trying to get a lot of things accomplished in a small window of time. And, I have to, I don't want to apologize for the show, but I want to say that I'm gonna try and, get better at having a more cohesive show and do so, with enough time that it doesn't feel like for myself that I'm just trying to cram as much in. And I just want to make sure that I don't have these shows run on too long. I do want you guys to listen, but I want you to listen and be able to get on with the rest of your day and whatever it is that you're doing. So again, once again, thank you for taking the time to listen. Here we are. I'm going to take the Atlanta Falcons over the Cincinnati Bengals this week. I think Matt Ryan is set to really start to play a lot better than he has. He had an excellent game last week in that shootout versus the Saints, but ultimately it was the Saints winning that game in overtime. I'll take the Chicago Bears over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't care who the quarterback is for the Bucs coming into this game. I think the Bears defense is going to find a way to dominate the line of scrimmage. I'll take Houston to finally get their first win of the season over the Indianapolis Colts. I'll take Jacksonville over the New York Jets. Now, I know I said a lot of positive and glowing things about the Miami Dolphins. However, I think that the Patriots are going to give the Dolphins their first loss of the season. If the game was in Miami, I think I would give the Dolphins a much better chance. But I think New England is going to knock the Dolphins back down to reality. I'll take the Lions to defeat the Cowboys. The Packers over the Bills. Call it a hunch. I'll take the Eagles to defeat the Titans and finally get a win down in Tennessee. Don't expect this to be an easy victory for the Eagles. As I predicted last week, I think this is going to be another game that is going to come down to the wire. I like the Eagles defense much more than I like the Titans defense. The Seahawks, I have the Seahawks over the Arizona Cardinals. Now this one is a tough one. It's a toss-up, and I literally flipped a coin for this one. I'll take the Raiders to beat the Browns. And I'm probably going to regret that pick. I probably am going to regret that, but I did let the coin decide. The coin said Raiders over the Browns. I'll take the Saints over the Giants. The Chargers over the 49ers. The Steelers over the Ravens. In Sunday Night Football action. And in Monday Night Football action, I like Patrick Mahomes to continue his hot streak, and I have him absolutely torching the Broncos secondary on Monday Night Football, so I'm taking the Chiefs over the Broncos. My fantasy stud pick for the week, the Chicago Bears defense. If you have the Bears defense, I would strongly suggest playing them this week. If you're in a league where the Bears defense is still in the free agency pool, this would be a week I would say you should pick them up off the scrap heap. I'm quite certain that by now, especially given that the Bears have Khalil Mack, I'm certain that in most leagues, the Bears defense has been picked up by now. If you're in a league where they are not, I suggest you get on it right now and pick up the Bears defense and start them against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. My dud pick for the week is Matt Breida. I think you can see right now that the 49ers really are going to struggle with the loss of Jimmy Garoppolo. And you're gonna see teams stacking the box, and they are going to really find ways to shut the run game down for the 49ers and force the 49ers into more passing situations. I think if you have Matt Breida, I would suggest trying to work out a trade while his value is still fairly high. All right, so those are my picks for week 4. Once again, quickly running them down. Falcons over the Bengals, Bears over the Bucks, Texans over the Colts, Jaguars over the Jets, Patriots over the Dolphins, Lions over the Cowboys, Packers over the Bills, Eagles over the Titans, Seahawks over the Cardinals, Raiders over the Browns, Saints over the Giants, Chargers over the 49ers, Steelers over the Ravens, Chiefs over the Broncos, Bears defense, our fantasy stud, Matt Breida, our fantasy dud. We'll be right back with our final topic, our weekly rant, and we'll close out the show. You are listening to the Layman Rap Podcast. All right, we're back with the Layman Rap Podcast, and it is time for our final segment, and it is our weekly rant, as usual, sponsored by Dunkin' Donuts. And today, our weekly rant is on the National Football League's need to protect the quarterback and its effect on the game. Now, understand that, obviously, you don't want certain things in any sport. In particular, given the amount of concussions and, the ongoing things as far as CTE and things of that nature. I totally understand why the league wants to crack down on, helmet to helmet contact, penalizing guys for targeting, ejecting guys for targeting. I totally am on board with wanting to clean up some of the, borderline plays that affect the overall nature of health and safety in the league. And I'm for that. I'm a guy, I'm for that. You want to clean those things up, get guys to understand you can't lead with your head. You can't go helmet to helmet against a guy. I totally concur with that. However, we have seen within the first 3 weeks of the season some of the most ridiculous and bullshit penalties for roughing the passer that I've ever seen. Clay Matthews of the Green Bay Packers has been flagged all 3 weeks for personal fouls, for roughing the passer, for doing nothing simply more than tackling the quarterback. I mean, what exactly do you want a defender to do? I mean, do you want him to, play two-hand tag and touch the quarterback? I mean, you just saw the Miami Dolphins lost a defensive player who tried to pull up from making a hit on the quarterback, tears his ACL, he's done for the season. So, are we more concerned about the health and safety of one position as opposed to the other 21 positions that are out there on the field? I mean, it's a joke. It's an absolute joke. In the Eagles opener, there was a BS flag thrown on both sides for what, in my mind, looked like clean tackles. I mean, unless a defender is actually, driving a guy into the turf, I don't see the need for there to be a flag for a basic form tackle. I mean, what do you want the guy to do? Roll? You want him to grab the quarterback and roll? I mean, that's not how you're taught to tackle. Are you supposed to now, any other offensive player is fair game for a crisp tackle. But the quarterback now is, he's off limits. You know what? Put a red jersey on the damn guy then. Put a red jersey on him and blow the whistle dead when he gets touched. I mean, if that's what we're going to do, we're a half a step away from basically being flag football on the quarterback. And he's just as much a part of the game as everyone else. I mean, I don't see how clean form tackles are being flagged as penalties in the National Football League right now. And, by the letter of the law, by letter of the rule, yes, it's a penalty. But it's something that the competition committee is going to have to look at, and they're going to have to adjust it. They're going to have to fix it. It's nonsense. It's nonsense what they're doing as far as protecting the quarterback. And again, if a running back is coming through the lane and a defender makes a good, crisp hit, wrap, and tackle, there's no flag for, unsportsmanlike conduct for tackling, a running back coming through the hole roughly. But if the quarterback is back there and the defender gets a clean hit, shoulder in the right place, there's no helmet-to-helmet contact, and he brings the He brings the quarterback to the ground. You're going to tell me that that's a 15-yard penalty because his body weight landed on the quarterback? I mean, did gravity all of a sudden cease to exist, in the National Football League? I mean, you're asking a guy to make an unnatural movement of his body to avoid what, could potentially be a game-changing penalty. I really hope the league, looks at this and fixes the rule. Yeah, you have to fix it. It's nonsense. It's complete and utter nonsense. And I don't want to be one of those, older fans that people tend to complain about and the get off my lawn kind of guy and, the back in my day kind of guy. I don't want to do that. I don't want to go that far with it. But I do want to say that, this is making the game soft. It's making the game soft. I mean, you want to clean up certain things, but now you're telling guys you can't tackle the quarterback. I mean, it's ridiculous. Hopefully, the competition committee in the off season will do something to make a better adjustment to this rule and just get it simplified to, a defender can't just pile drive the quarterback into the turf. Well, that is our show. It went by rather quickly today. Hopefully we can get these shows condensed, to a time frame like this one. And again, as time goes on, you're going to see a much tighter show, much more informative than just sitting behind this microphone and talking. I do want to get you guys, as much information as I can in 40 minutes or less. And we are going to be under the 40-minute mark today. So once again, thank you for checking me out. Thank you for listening. Thank you to my ever-patient wife who is home today and is not spending time with her husband because I'm sitting here in front of this mic. I want to thank my daughter for the lovely intro. And again, thank you, the listener, for checking me out. I'll see you next week with another Layman Rap Podcast. This is Mr. 215 Irving Henderson signing off saying, I'll see you next week.